a very experienced nurse from the Philippines. Use of disposable rubber tourniquets, EMR, because this did not even exist in my city in the Philippines. Hey nurses, Rooms here. I'm a dialysis nurse here in the US, and welcome back to my channel where I upload videos all about dialysis and my journey as an immigrant nurse here in the US. All of us have experienced the first day as a new nurse in a new facility or hospital. Establishing awkward rapport, trying to remember our co-nurses, doctors, and staff's names, and often feeling somewhat like a fish out of water. Now imagine that exact scenario, add a language barrier, a completely different culture, and possible jet lag from having recently arrived in a new country. Yes, your first few days at a new nurse job in another part of the world is most definitely an interesting experience, which makes me remember my first day and weeks, which is somewhat surreal. And I didn't even notice that I'm now running more than 6 months. And I'd like to share a few tips to help you adjust as a new dialysis nurse here in the US. So if you're ready, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and hit that bell icon for new video every week as I take you with me in discovering nursing career. To guide you throughout this video, I'm gonna put some timestamps below that redirects you straight to the topic you are looking for. But before anything else, just a disclaimer, everything in this video is based on my own experience and not intended and shall not be understood or construed as professional advice. As soon as I arrived here in the US, I wiped out the idea of having 7 years experience as a dialysis nurse in the Philippines because of the obvious different setups and practices between the two countries. It is an advantage, of course, but sticking to it might entirely affect my mindset in terms of learning and working with new colleagues. You know, the typical who you and I have more experience than you, or in down moments like if only you know, etc., etc. Even though all these are just mere thoughts, I don't want that. But on the first day of my work, my most shocking experience was when I was introduced as a very experienced nurse from the Philippines. And at the back of my mind, I was like, oh, here we go. You know what this means? High expectations from them, which I haven't really felt during my first 2 days because I was just doing star learning in front of the computer. But my first day on the floor, they already let me cannulate a patient. And I was like, really? Are you sure? And it was that moment I got it when she replied, yes. You have 7 years experience, right? And what's more shocking is the use of disposable rubber tourniquets. Unless it's for IV insertion, who among you here uses it? Because I have used the adjustable tourniquet my whole life as a dialysis nurse. And I just realized that moment when a slight change can really be scary. Even as soon as I walk through the clinic floor, I've seen dialyzers upside down with the blue up. Because in the Philippines, it's totally the opposite. When I started on the floor learning about medications, the Epogen and Venofer, the iron medication, are given any time, even as soon as the treatment started. Plus, they give out protein bars, shakes, and drinks, which is a new thing for me. So my training lasted for 1.5 months. I trained under experienced RN ICHD in-center hemodialysis 4 days a week. It was a mix of star learning, computer-based learning, and floor duties. So what I did, instead of doing full 2 days star learning and 2 days floor duties, I divided my days for both STAR learning in the morning and floor duties in the afternoon, or vice versa. There will also be instructor-led learning with fixed times. It's called the Rise Above Studio Learning, wherein I need to schedule ahead. And it is only during these times when I do more hours with STAR learning or even a full day. The final exam is the last step of the training. But this really varies from clinic to clinic, especially if you're running short of staff, which is hard to keep up with the RISE training schedule. So overall, it was all about theories, machine, clinic setup, and the IT platform used for EMR, electronic medical record. At this stage, I already started handling patients. Slowly, I started one patient, then progressed to two. It's the EMR that made my task challenging. We still use Snappy that time, by the way, especially during the turnover when I needed to disconnect the machine first in order to connect the incoming patient for the next shift. So it's important to have a notebook and write all the things you fail, mistakes, etc. to note and correct next time. This even acted like a diary, to be honest, because even my little accomplishments can also be found here. I'll read one note which I find cute. My goal at first is time management, to keep up with all the tasks happening at a time. But it was not a good one because then I forgot about priming. There were still a lot of bubbles because my only goal is to finish immediately to move forward to the next patient. Quantity over quality is never a good idea. I think the most challenging part in my training was the EMR, which I've also previously mentioned, because this did not even exist in my city in the Philippines. We did the paper documentation, which I admit I kind of missed because back then we did it comfortably sitting on a chair, but here where computers are placed in between the dialysis machines, I have to do it in a standing position until I finish. And in my training facility with 24 machines, I had to roam around the clinic to do it. Also, unlike in the PH where you can document advanced or late entries, you can't do it here. The system will either tell you that you can't input a future time or reflect your notes as late entry. In dialysis, you need to connect the computer and machine first before hooking the patient, or else you'll be doing everything manually. So there's no need to hurry at a disorderly speed. You just have to be snappy to be more organized and efficient. The next challenging thing also was definitely the language barrier. Although Filipinos are known to be fluent in English, conversational English is never a usual thing, especially for me. So I always have blank moments when having a conversation with Native Americans. Compared to Filipinos, they tend to be more of a talker, like they want to be praised, reassured, and oriented, and so expressing emotions, both positive or negative, is just a casual thing here. So don't ever treat the negative ones seriously. Like initially, you think they kind of degrade you, but you'll end up confused because in the end, they'll call you honey, dear, etc. As a tip, just inform them every detail because they don't want to be left hanging, especially if you're a new dialysis nurse. So to every new patient encounter, always introduce yourself and include your experience in the Philippines. You don't want that feeling like them questioning you. They're simply asking you, but for Filipinos who are new to the culture, the words can really hit you differently. I'm telling you this because I experienced it myself. It can really make you down, but as soon as you understand them, you'll get used to it. I can hear Native American patients and staff arguing, and in the end, they'll easily tell each other, I love you. Like a tragedy book with a happy ending. They can really be confusing, so just don't take things seriously. Of course, I won't set aside the funny moments. In the Philippines, we are taught of complex English words, yet when I arrive here, all the words are used and understood literally. Like the word hurt is kind of serious already, but I was shocked whenever they missed the cannulation. They say, "I didn't mean to hurt you." Then a funny story of the word call was when a patient arrived earlier for the last shift. I told him, "We'll just call you." And he replied, "But I'm here," in a tone that I misunderstood as rude. It took me a few minutes to understand that he literally meant it as call via phone. And he was just merely confused about why to call him when he's already there. He finally got me when I talked to him with sign language, pointing the door with a big relief of, "Oh." They also call bags here as pocketbooks. So when a patient asked me to get her pocketbook, she must have been really confused when I opened it and looked for something. She told me instead, "Bring it here," and asked what I was doing. I innocently told her I was looking for a book, and she replied, "This is a pocketbook." It's definitely a whirlwind of new things, everything here, and I was just amazed to get to experience it every day. Like how graphs are just a thing here, because back in the PH, I can't even remember when's the last time I've cannulated a graph. And the most amazing thing I did was cannulate a femoral graft. It was my first time to actually see it, but then they immediately let me cannulate it. I was waiting for the nurse to demo it for me, but she said, "It's okay, I'll be here." Starting here as an experienced RN. That's it. Hope you learned something from this video. If yes, don't forget to click like, leave a comment for some video suggestion, and of course, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. See you next video.